Just gonna have to sit down.
Joining me now is a man coming off a big victory at one championship. He is Martin Nguyen. Thanks for coming back on the show, man.
No worries, man. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Now, you said in the post-fight speech, it's a long time coming. You had a lot of, you know, a bit of a grind to get back to where you're at. Um, I just got to say, though, my guy Tim Wheaton with that post-fight question, man. I don't think I've seen a reaction like that to a question at many post-fight speeches. It was a pretty good one.
Yeah, no, it was you know what? It's not a personal question, but just like a personal connection that I have with my coach. So it started when so we were yeah, it started when we were in the Philippines when I won the second world title. Um, it kind of felt like it was like a Filipino versus Filipino
Yeah.
because I fought Edward and my coach is Filipino, and so we had to come up with something like, "Come on, man, you can't do your people like you can't go against your people like that." So we just say you're Mexican, it's fine. And then yeah, we stuck along with it from there. And then in the press conference, they asked him like, "All right, how's it feel going up against your own countrymen or something like that?" And I was like, "Oh man, you kind of put him on the spot." So I was like, "Oh, he's not Filipino, he's actually Mexican." Like that, and they were like, "Oh, okay."
That's
Yeah.
hilarious. I've actually, you don't hear a ton of questions like that, either lead up to a fight or post fight. I know years back when I first got started with building MMA Suck, I was doing like, the telephone press conferences that they used to do. And it was back when Strikeforce was a thing. And King Mo fought Gegard Mousasi back in the day. And King Mo kept making fun of Mousasi's accent and his voice, and he kept saying he sounded like Kermit the Frog. So I asked him to do his best Kermit the Frog impression, and it was hilarious. Like, it got picked up on all the websites.
Wow.
Have you had many, you know, questions like that, or like any funny questions come up other than this one, really?
Nah, not necessarily. That's just been more like they just get straight to the point, ask about the fight, and then move on. And it was good to kind of like just break it up a bit. I was answering the questions. I was trying to soak it in as much as I can because it been 3 years since I talked to the press after post bout. So um, yeah, it was just fun. It was just a fun question to answer. Just breaking it up from all the
Exactly.
serious.
Exactly. Everything's so serious post fight. Well, pre fight even more serious. But as you said, it's been a while since you've had a victory. I know we spoke before your last fight, which didn't go your way. Obviously, the first round finish. Then you had Than Lee before that, and I mean, so 3 years basically since you had a victory. You said post fight that there was ups and downs along those 3 years. You contemplated, who knows, retirement, but your family, your wife, your kids, they really got you to focus on the point. I wanted to ask you about that a little bit, and what exactly they did to push you to get to where you're at today.
They were just them, man. Just motivated me. Seeing them, just enjoy life in general. And for me, I was just like, man, I want them to, have as much fun as possible. And so, in order for them to do that, I'm gonna have to like step up and provide for their family. Um, as I have been, but it's just more of a motivation. Like, man, I really love this sport. I'd do anything. Like, this is all I know, right? And my wife just reassured me that we got this. Just do the training, good vibes, and go from there.
How close were you to actually calling it a day?
Very close, very close. Let's just put it at that. Losing my world title, then losing an embarrassing knockout. I was like, if I was gonna get knocked out again, then I'll just say it's my time. It is what it is.
If that was the case, what do you think you would do?
I don't know. I haven't really looked past it. Um, I think it will just take a bit of time just to soak it in a bit more. But other than that, I mean, I haven't really looked past MMA at all. So I don't see anything but me gunning for that world title again.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Division wise, gunning for the world title. What's the weight class you're gonna stay at home at?
This is my weight class, featherweight division. Um, I feel like there's like a lot of contenders that I could possibly fight before calling it a day anyway. So featherweight is where I'm at, and with the new 5% body fat rule or weight rule that one championship has brought out, the bantamweight is just not an option anymore. So, and in terms of lightweight, I just don't feel that I need to give my opponent an edge in weight in order to fight. So if they really want to fight me, I can meet them halfway at catchweight, or we can fight at featherweight.
Let's talk this fight. Kirill Gorobets, a game opponent, unbeaten in, I don't know, since 2016, I believe his record said. Very big knockout power. You didn't seem to be intimidated by that at all. You picked your shots, you grinded away. You almost got the finish early in the fight, and then finally got it in the third round. You weren't even afraid to really go to the ground with him. He's got submissions. He's got all this. He's very, very well-rounded. What'd you take away from the fight?
Look, a lot of people are taking away his credentials on paper, through stats. 11-1. That's not a guy that you'd want to take lightly. Doesn't matter what promotion, you can't have 11 flukes in your pro career. So the guy, hats off to him. He is a very, very talented fighter. I just had to, as I said in every other question that was asked to me through press, what am I going to do in this fight? What's going to happen in this fight that you're going to do different than any other fight? I said, man, I'm just going to fight the same way I always do, but I just have to make sure I have to win in every position, whether it be on the ground, whether it be striking, whether it be through cardio, through the grind of the fight itself. I just got to be on top, and just having that mentality coming into the fight, just being patient and picking my shots and going from there, prevailed.
No kidding. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say it was your best performance. You've had tons of good performances in there, obviously double champ. But where would you rank it on your listings of performances inside the one cage?
I think it'll be up there with one of my top performances. I rarely got hit. I rarely got any damage. The only damage that actually happened is me. It's doing it to myself, throwing the punches. But other than that, these type of performances where I get out like scot-free, no injuries, face-wise, and a little bit to the body, the ones that I look forward to the most.
Definitely. Now, how many times would you like to get back in there this calendar year? You see yourself in there multiple times?
I see myself coming back late July, early August, and then having one, depending on how that goes, by the end of the year. I feel like I'm 2-3 fights away from fighting Tan Lee, providing that he still holds the title, or even getting a title shot. So people right now are throwing me on the pedestal of rematch with Tan and rematch this. I'm happy to be the gatekeeper. I'm happy to fight people who want to crack the top 5, or I'll fight people in the top 5. I don't really care. I just feel like doing it the right way. I need to rack up 2-3 more wins, and the title shot is inevitable.
Post-fight, you called out Christian Lee 1X in a grappling match. You've beaten him before, MMA. Do you think that this fight or grappling match will actually happen? Have you spoken about it? Is it something that could take place? I know this card is stacking up to be like the most giant card ever for one. So do you think that they'd be able to slot it in?
To be honest with you, I planted the seed to grapple with Christian, only because he's a lightweight now. And we've gone 2 fights, and everyone keeps asking Christian and Martin Nguyen 3, and are you going to fight Christian? Are you going to move up and fight Christian? I'm not going to move up to lightweight to fight Christian. If he wants to fight me, MMA, he can come back down to featherweight. I don't see that happening. He's a pretty big guy. He's pretty solid person in general. So he might make the weight, but it will be difficult for him. Whether he performed the same or not, we don't know. But in terms of like now, I was on a high. I was ready to grapple as well. I came from a grappling background. My grappling is very, very underrated. So I have that one up on him when I choked him in the first fight. So I'm sure he would want to get that one back. Try to choke me out, or put a lock on me. But Man, I planted the seed to be on that card, but injuries, man, injuries from this fight. I thought it was just a swelling hand, and I felt something was wrong with their hand, but the swelling was there, and the swelling's gone away, but I just have a light fracture in the base of my metacarpal, so 4 weeks is the healing time that I have to wait.
I noticed on your Instagram you showed some training footage. Are you able to train with your hand like that, or are you just hitting with one hand? What's the deal?
So yeah, that's old footage. That's like pre bout. But yeah, right now it's no impact as per my doctor and physio. I can use my left and I can use kicks. And as of next week, I'll be starting obviously my boxing again because I love my boxing. But yeah, I can't throw anything more than a jab or a hook, or when I switch to forwards, it's straight left.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, so you still have like fundamentals anyway.
Of course. Now you spoke of Christian Lee. What do you think of his last fight? Did you score the fight for him? Did you think Oak won? What did you think of that fight?
Regardless of what I think, um, I still preach the fact that to be the champion, you got to take out the champion, regardless of how you do it or whatever. You just got to take him out completely. But yeah, when it came to the decision, split decision, whatever it was, I had it for Christian. I feel like he did everything via the criteria to win. He dropped Oak and he almost finished him 2-3 times, whatever. Oak picked his pepper shots. All his shots were not hard, and they didn't really phase Christian at all. They're just like, punches that were there that make him look busy. But yeah, Christian, I felt like he had more significant strikes and he looked the better part. But obviously, I think the way his body language was when he seemed like he gassed or whatever, kind of threw the judges. I don't know how they think, but yeah, I still think Christian had won that fight. Very close fight, and it's rematch worthy. So if he gets it, he gets it.
Definitely. You say 2 or 3 more before you get a crack at 10 if he's still the champ. Who are some names that come to play if you're thinking of guys that lead into that? Is a guy like Gary Tonin the next fight? What do you think will be next?
Gary's a good guy. Gary's a well accomplished jiu-jitsu fighter. I feel like Gary needs at least two, three more experience. Maybe 2, 3, 4 fights before he gets another title shot, but he just needs more cage time, more experience. The guys that he's fought, he's kind of finished, and it hasn't been like you can't buy that or you can't replicate that. You just need more time, more experience to in that cage. It's just different at the end of the day. So I feel Gary could be a potential future opponent. Yes, definitely. But for me, what I'm looking at now, I'm thinking the loser of Tenkai or Kim Jae-woon, or I'm thinking number 5, which is Nakahara, or it could be someone from outside the top 5. Other guys coming in. You Takahashi, you have Amir Khan, you have a lot of guys in the featherweight division, so the names are endless. And as I said, I don't mind being a gatekeeper for these guys who want to crack the top 5 and have a shot at a title. I'm here to fight. I'm here to do my job at the end of the day.
Definitely. The rest of your card, as you said, obviously, 10 knocked out Gary Tonin. Were you able to watch those fights? And what did you think of John Lineker knocking out Bibiano?
Let's go John Lineker first. I knew that he was going to come in a bit wild. I didn't actually watch the card live. I had to go back to my room and rewatch from my fight onwards. But yeah, that was the only way John was going to win, realistically, by knocking out Bibiano. I didn't see him submitting him or beating him via the distance. Bibiano is very, very durable, and he's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve, a lot of options to win the fight. So I'll put my hand right now. I thought Bibiano would have had that, and at stages we thought that almost came, to show. But John was tough, man. He throws bombs. Their hands are stone for no. His hands are full of stones. So he hit Bibiano, and I thought it was like more of a rock, but Bibiano was stiff, man. So he's in good spirit. I've spoken to him.
Definitely. Final question. Well, maybe two more after this one. But you said post-fight as well. You thanked, obviously, your team, and then you thanked Sanford. You didn't make the trek out there for this camp. When do you plan on heading back out there?
I'm heading out hopefully mid this year before my next fight. So now that the COVID restrictions and quarantine restrictions have eased, so what I was doing for my Jadamba fight and my Tsushima fight um, before COVID came down heavy was I'd do 4 to 6 weeks at Sanford, and then I would finish 2 3 weeks at home with my family, and that was working well. And then COVID hit. I was meant to fight Tan Lee like April 2020, and then that got cancelled, and then we fought October sometime, and both times I had to do the whole camp at Sanford and then fly out without seeing my family. So obviously there's a reoccurring pattern there. With the Kim Jae-woong loss as well, I had to fly straight out from Florida, and it just wasn't working. Usually I'll come home with my family, I'll chill, obviously stay maintained, and do my job, and more specific works come towards fight time. But I grinded it out up until fight week, so it was just very, very taxing on the body and the mind as well. So now that the restrictions have eased, I'm looking to do 4 to 6 weeks at Sanford, put in the time with my trainers and coaches over there, and then come back and do the finishing touches back in Australia.
We spoke at the beginning. The first question was, or the first statement was talking about, the question that Tim had in the post-fight press conference. I want to ask you a training question. I don't ask guys this a lot. I try to get outside the box a little bit, but any embarrassing training stories, man? Like something that comes to mind that just embarrassed the shit out of you in the training room?
Not necessarily, man. I always get beat up in the training room. Literally, you see me like probably beating people up in the cage or whatever, but in a training room, I'm always there. Not always, but like I'm the nail and the hammer at the same time. I don't know. I always get beat up. There's nothing wrong with it. I lose all the time, even to amateur fighters, up and coming fighters, and there's nothing wrong with it. At first I was like, man, I'm a world champion. I'm getting beat up by this amateur fighter, but that's the eagerness talking to me. I'm over that. You're gonna get bashed. There's always gonna be someone out there that's better than you. So sorry, my bad.
No, it's all good, man. He's Martin Nguyen. Big victory, man. I'm glad your family talked you into staying in the cage, my friend. Thanks for the opportunity to chat with you today. Any shout outs? The floor is yours, buddy.
I just want to give a shout out to all the guys, fans that believed in me, sent me pre and post bout messages. I read majority of them, and I just want to let you know that I appreciate every one of you.
Thanks a lot, man. Congratulations on the victory. Can't wait to see you get back in there, buddy.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Awesome. Okay.